Well, hi friends, welcome back. I'm here in my kitchen here in Kelowna with Pam Watland. She's my guest today, and we're going to be making soup and talking about the nonprofit for which she works. So, hi Pam.
Hi Wendy. Thank you so much for inviting me. I am super excited to make a pot of soup and have a little chat.
Yeah. So Pam's got an amazing theory about soup. It's pretty simple. Boil it down to a nutshell.
Soup is the answer.
There you go.
To everything. I've lived long enough to realize that sometimes you just need something comforting. Sometimes when you're just feeling bummed out, you're feeling depressed, a little bit sad, your day didn't go so well. It's amazing when you gather together a few vegetables, chopping block and a knife, put together a pot of soup. It somehow always makes me feel better.
Yeah.
And I can share it with people, and people tend to like soup.
Yeah. I like a gift of soup.
Exactly. And then on the other hand, on those days when the sun is shining, the world is good, your cat is healthy, everybody's smiling at you, that's also another good day to make a pot of soup.
Okay, it's joy soup.
It's joy soup because you get to make it with this enthusiasm, and it smells good, and it just feels good. A wooden spoon in the pot, it's just kind of fun. And then you get to share it again.
Is this the same kind of soup? Do you make like sad soup and happy soup? Sick soup?
Soup is ambidextrous.
Oh,
it can go either way.
So any kind of soup can be any kind of thing?
Any kind of soup can be any kind of thing. That's my experience with soup.
This is all about the intention behind the soup.
Yes, it's my heart that needs adjusting, or the overflowing heart that needs to be shared. And soup is the vehicle to do that. Soup is the tangible, the inside is the intangible. So there you go. Soup is the answer.
Deep with soup. Knee deep in soup.
That's right. That's right.
It's kind of like the story of stone soup.
Kind of.
Yes. Story?
Yes.
Yeah, where this peddler or something comes into a village and he's just got a rock.
Yes.
And he says, if I put this rock in this pot, we'll have soup.
That's right.
But I just need one little thing from you. And everybody contributes in the village, one little thing, and then...
And lo and behold, they have a great pot of soup.
Yeah.
And they also have something to gather around.
Yeah.
Something to fill their tummies. They have community. And that, I think, is the answer. Yeah. So I think soup creates community. I think that's the key.
That's nice. Soup creates community. All right. So is this, does this soup recipe, so she's brought her soup recipe and it's taped
it's old.
To it's a good recipe when it shows somewhere.
I think it would actually qualify as a vintage recipe, partly because there's memories on there. There's things splashed on there.
Well, it gives it authenticity. Okay, so there's a vintage recipe from somewhere.
I remember cutting it out of a magazine when I was newly married, and that was a long time ago.
Oh, that's so cute.
And I taped it to. For those of you who don't know what recipe cards are,
or tape,
they are tape. Yeah,
Renee just gave us a terrible look.
Index card with Scotch tape on the cutout of the recipe, and I just kind of hung with it.
Well,
because
it works.
It works. Yeah, it works. So I've got a few simple ingredients.
All right. So
shall I start chopping?
We're going to talk about the nonprofit that she works in the context of hanging out and making this soup. And then when we're all done, we can eat the soup. And she's brought some homemade sourdough bread. And she's like a amazing sourdough bread person.
Well, sourdough is another amazing thing.
Well, it's alive.
Exactly, because you're never really alone with your sourdough starter.
Pulled something off the back of your card and threw it in my tea.
Sorry.
I think it's a desiccated carrot or something.
Oh, too funny.
My tea is better now. Okay, so we're cutting everything up, and you brought some things pre-cut.
I did.
So you're making little rounds.
Yeah, I cut the onion and the celery,
Voila.
and some of the carrots. I didn't want to cry today, so I cut the onions up because onions usually make me cry.
Have you found anything to make it so that onions don't make you cry? Any of the tricks?
I have tried the snorkel mask and felt extremely silly.
I've done that.
I've tried the spoon.
That doesn't
almost
work at all.
as silly. So I've decided that crying just needs to happen when onions are being cut. And I just make sure that I have a tissue, and it's a good excuse for me to clean my glasses. Have a cry, put the onions in the pot, carry on.
What did earlier in the season we were at Sandwich Company with Adam Relvis, and he was saying a sharp knife it'll help you to not make tearful onions. Yeah, I think the only thing that's really worked for me is the snorkel mask, and it just really
just makes you laugh at yourself, doesn't it?
Yeah. I was like, no, I'm not getting anything done. I'm just taking pictures of how doopy I look.
No doubt. I mean, a sharp knife is definitely an asset for anything in the kitchen. But I also think sometimes there are onions that you just haven't met before, and they are just more tenacious. And I think the older the onion, the less
do they calm
volatile
down?
it is. I think they do.
Oh, like
I think
some
they do.
people.
Kind of like old dogs. They just get their bite gets a little bit less.
Yeah, some old dogs are just worse.
I know, but their hearing goes, so they don't see you coming as quickly. They don't react as fast.
There you go.
But those young onions, those young onions,
yeah,
they can almost get you.
Onion.
Yeah, I mean, I pulled a green onion out of the garden, a green onion, which should be mild and not temperamental, and it's whacked me a punch in the face I didn't expect. So, yeah, it's the way that one goes. Yeah. So, good news here: carrots don't ever bite you. Carrots, you're safe with carrots.
Do you want me to peel these?
Sure, that would be awesome.
I can do that.
So this recipe just has some really basic veggies. And the thing that's really cool about this recipe is you can make it completely, it's a vegetarian soup. You can also make it vegan by swapping out the milk, the dairy, for coconut milk. Or you also could use a non-dairy milk, like a nut milk or something.
Nice.
We're gonna be using coconut milk today because that adds a really nice level of aroma and just a little extra flavor with the coconut. So
I love anything with coconut milk.
Coconut is almost always dessert, even if it's a soup. It's just so great.
Well, have you tried whipping it?
Yes.
Isn't that
it's
a
fabulous.
revelation?
And I don't think I ever opened, although today is different, I did not steal any coconut cream from the can.
Oh.
But when I open my can of coconut,
you take a tax?
I'll have a clean spoon, take a spoon out, enjoy that one, and then carry on. Yeah. It's a tax. Yeah. The can owes me.
That's right. For being open, you owe me.
Yeah, that's the way that one goes. Yeah, exactly.
Ooh, I'm throwing potato bits everywhere.
That's okay.
It's my thing.
So we're gonna pop the carrots and onions and celery and garlic and green pepper into our soup pot.
Okay.
And get that sizzling.
Woo. So in here we've got onions and green pepper, and they're cut pretty small.
Yeah, they're pretty small dice.
I'll bring out a couple just so you can see. So a little green pepper, a little bitty onion. I'm going to put it in here before it makes me cry.
Yes. It's got to corral them. So there we go. Okay, so I'll just toss these babies.
Look at this.
Into the frying pan.
See that?
That goes with my recipe card.
It does.
They're twinsies.
And I got this as a wedding gift 400 years ago.
See, Wendy, that's why I like you.
Right?
Because we've been around for a long time. And
it's so true.
I was young and married when I discovered this recipe before I became a mama. Yeah. So.
And I thought, why would I ever be really fond of a vegetable peeler? But I love this. I love that it's warped. I love that it's a little bit rusty, and it makes sounds.
Doesn't that just represent us as we get older?
We're
just a little warped, a little rusty, making funny sounds. That's way too close to home, Wendy.
Does your hip make any sounds?
No, not anymore.
Ooh.
No. I'm good.
I don't think my knee does. We both the same year got some bionic parts.
Yes,
and
we're magical now.
We're magical. We can do a wide variety of super tricks.
Although I don't know what your experience is like with traveling. Sometimes having metal parts creates a lot of attention at airports.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't always like the attention.
I know.
Yeah.
So, why are you setting off all of these?
Exactly. Whoops. I'm going to cut these potatoes and add them to the diced rutabagas that I have in here. Now, Wendy,
Sorry.
just the mention of rutabaga and she lost her breath.
Rutabaga.
I thought that we would need some discussion about rutabagas.
Let's talk about that.
But I wasn't sure that it would just totally stop you, Wendy. Wow.
Like hitting a rutabaga wall. Okay, what's the difference between a rutabaga and a turnip?
Color. I think they're the same family. I don't know for sure. So I think they're related. I think people might think that turnips are smaller, I think, and they're a different color.
It tastes like a turnip.
But I think they're related. Yeah, I think they're related. Does anybody get excited about turnips and rutabagas as a rule?
Could.
I don't think overall though they
no.
have that reputation.
They kind of try to take over things. They're like the classroom bully.
Well, the thing that's interesting about this particular soup, this
Just going to keep
chowder,
these in line.
it keeps them in line. But if you do not put the rutabaga in this soup,
It's not the same?
it's awful.
Get out.
The rutabaga makes the soup, but it doesn't take over the soup. You think it's the corn, you think it's the zucchini, you think it's the coconut milk,
Right.
but it's really underlying. The rutabaga is holding up the entire soup. And if you don't put it in, it's a mistake. So just a little tip there.
We won't make that mistake.
No, you don't want to miss that one up.
Sandra Babel was here and she was making some of her her mom's, it was a chicken vegetable soup. And instead of cutting up cabbage for it, we used, what is it called? Sauerkraut. So it's already cut up and fermented.
Yes, yes.
Right. And it was amazing. And that little
Extra
bit
kick of flavor.
acidity and flavor. Yeah, it really made the soup special. So she's broken me into believing things about soup.
There you go.
Like,
See?
that rutabaga is going to make
It actually is magic, yeah.
Yep.
And if you have had a negative experience with a turnip or a rutabaga, this may be your opportunity for healing. You may receive a redemptive second chance.
Your heart will be glad
You will,
to
truly.
come near this rutabaga.
Totally, because it just, again, we talked about the community aspect of it.
Yeah.
I think that rutabagas by themselves could be a little hard to take.
Yeah.
Just like some people, but if you have the right combination,
Mix
they
them
can
down.
they can just be the right. I mean, Wendy, you and I over the years of some of the things we've gotten into, the people we've met on their own, maybe not so good, but the combinations, it's just that balancing,
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
that tempering. It's really great, really great. Yeah. So,
Yep.
did I turn the right? Oh yeah, I think I got the right element
Yeah,
here.
it's.
Okay.
I can hear it. It's
Yes,
starting
it's
to go.
thinking about it. Yes.
Is that the sound it makes, really? I don't know. I can't do
Starting to
face
sizzle.
sound effects. That's getting very heapy.
It is. We're going to just put that over there. We're going to stir these little guys a little bit.
Okey-dokey.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Oh, yes, looking good.
Pam, hands and service.
Yes.
Yes. What is your, okay, define hands and service first. Come back over here and define it.
Okay,
I'll
hands and
attend
service.
that.
Hands and Service is a local not-for-profit here in Kelowna. It's been around for a little over 20 years. We basically offer services to people through volunteer hands. And these services that we offer are not available any other way.
Okay.
Our clients are ages 19 to way up there. So adults are our clients. Predominantly people between the ages of 19 and 65. Generally speaking, we consider that in our culture to be your earning years, your productive years, your independent years, your years of doing whatever it is that you think you're here to do.
So there's not as many services.
Exactly.
Right.
So seniors, so the over 65 population, we recognize that sometimes people just need a little hand. Sometimes health has fallen apart. Sometimes something's going on.
Yep.
So there aren't ever enough services for all the seniors that live in the Okanagan, but there are definitely more services for the over 65 than the under 65.
Right.
And some of our clients have hit barricades in their life under 65 that are very, very difficult. They may have mobility challenges. They may have had a brain injury that has now totally thrown them off their independent adult game.
Right.
They may be able to kind of sort of live independent, which is preferred by most people, and even our healthcare community would like to see people living independently if they can. There aren't enough assisted living spaces for all the people that might benefit from them.
Right.
But what do you do when living independent isn't something that you can do 100%, and you don't have money to hire out to bring care in,
Okay.
you don't have family or friends to support you,
Or if they're exhausted.
or if they're exhausted, yeah, caregiver burnout is a real thing. And sometimes people are across the country from their family.
Absolutely.
Sometimes relational bridges are out. And I like to often think about our clients as being people who have kind of hit the sidelines of life way before it would be reasonable. And there's no one there to help pick them up.
Right.
And I don't know always how people ended up in the ditch, off the road, they weren't moving forward. But it's not for me to decide how they got there. It's for me to recognize this person's in the ditch. I think I should help them out. I mean, if you're driving along the highway and you see someone in a ditch, you're going to call 911 or you're going to stop and say, hey, can I help you? What's the problem? That we do. But people living lives with disabilities that inherently prevent them from living with real dignity in their homes. They might not be able to change the sheets on their bed. They might not be able to prepare all their meals, clean their showers or bathrooms, sweep their floor, take out their garbage and recycling. Super basic household tasks that we are able to connect volunteers with our clients to help them with those basic tasks. And our volunteers might offer 2 to 4 hours a month, which is really a very small slice of our 24-hour clock, 30 days out of the month. It's not a lot of time we're asking, and it can make a world of difference. It helps keep people dignified and noticed, observed, known in their homes for a lot longer. And some of our clients are short-term disabled. They just have, they've just had surgery. They've come through cancer therapy. They are in a lull. They are definitely not feeling their best. They don't have all the strength that they would like to conduct their lifestyle. And so our volunteers help to sort of build that bridge from, oh, you're not doing well right now, but you know what? In a couple of years, you might be better.
Right.
And then you can carry on and be independent.
Yeah.
Which is fabulous.
Yeah,
Super
just
honoring,
gets them
super respectful.
through that gully.
Yeah, exactly. So we offer basic housekeeping for our clients who qualify. We also do a little bit of simple meal prep occasionally for people. So stuff that we're doing here, make a pot of soup, chop up some veggies, that's sort of within our mandate. Another thing that we have dove into in the last 15 years in a bigger way is addressing food security challenges. Food insecurity is a massive, massive challenge. And this is where our ages, there's no age limit to people that have food insecurity. There's no one size fits all. This is why, oh, you lost your job, or you never had a job, or whatever. No, it's you don't have enough food. And maybe you can't feed your children.
Right.
Maybe you are struggling with trying to pay the utilities and buy food. With the housing situation the way it's gotten, we would like to keep people housed, and we would like to keep people fed.
Yeah.
Those are kind of basics.
And if you have to choose between paying your rent or eating,
Those are difficult decisions, and I have met people who actually are deciding, do I pay the gas bill? Do I just sit in the dark because I can't pay the electricity bill? Or do I eat one meal a day because I can't afford 2 or 3?
Yeah.
Tricky. So we have a really great partnership with the Central Okanagan Food Bank. We actually offer home delivery for people who are unable to get to the food bank. They qualify as food bank clients, which is a certain level of.
Okay, so the food bank qualifies them?
Yes, the food bank decides who are their clients. We don't decide that. The food bank and the client decide who needs the food. Now the food bank is prepared to make food hampers available to these individuals.
Okay.
But the food bank relies on those individuals to come to the food bank to pick up their box of food.
Oh, so if you don't drive, can people take these things on a bus? Okay,
The
because I've seen you guys' deliveries, and there's some large boxes.
Yeah, they may weigh 40 to 50, 60 pounds.
Oh, okay. So let's say somebody's just gotten out of the hospital from surgery, and they've got this gap because they didn't have extended medical insurance. And now they're relying on the food bank, but they qualified, but they can't get the stuff home.
Right.
Is that what you're saying?
It's exactly the situation.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
like the worst possible situation. You need the food, you qualify for the food, which means you have certain things in your life that aren't working, so that you can't get your food independently.
Right.
So you're already feeling the stigma of that. And now your food is waiting for you at the food bank, but you can't get to the food bank to pick it up because you don't have a car. Paying taxi fare to get your food hamper seems
Frustrating. Oh, that
seems-
seems like, well,
not very wise.
Yeah, and where are you going to get the money for, like, taxes
Taxes are
aren't cheap
exorbitant.
either.
Taxes are very expensive.
Yeah.
And many of our clients have mobility and medical issues, so they may be wheelchair bound, they may use a walker to mobilize. So yes, they may be bus clients. They may even qualify for Handy Dart, which is a subsidized bus program that gets you door to door. But Handy Dart isn't able to manage the boxes. The Handy Dart is a people mover. Not a people and stuff mover. So your food has to stay at the food bank until you have someone that can pick it up for you. And if you don't have anybody coming to pick up that food, it will stay at the food bank and you will stay at home hungry, more frustrated.
So frustrating.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have volunteers that will do deliveries.
We have amazing, amazing volunteers who provide the vehicle, the gas, and the time.
So they use their own vehicle?
They use their own vehicle, and they when we can, we offer them gas cards to help subsidize that expense. But it is their own vehicle, and they love to do it. There's a time frame every week. There's a certain time frame during the day. The food hampers are available. We deliver about 22 hampers a week. 50 weeks out of the year. So it is a year-round program that provides people who would normally go without with an opportunity to get their food, which is very cool.
Do you need more delivery people?
We at times have ebb and flow. I mean, if our regular volunteers are unwell or they're out of town, we could. So we would love to have more individuals, and they anybody who wants to volunteer for Hands in Service can simply check us out at our website, www.handsinservice.ca. And there are online fillable, submittable forms for volunteering.
So they can volunteer for different things too.
Yeah.
So volunteering for food hamper delivery, and then regular. How do you have it on the website? What do people look for? If I wanted to come and just help somebody once a month with chopping up their vegetables or something like that, whatever they need.
Yeah.
What kind of, is there a box I check on there?
What you do is there are separate forms. So if you go to our website, there are prominent headings for our Energetic Hands program, which is the in-home basic housekeeping support, which would also include meal prep. Then the food hamper delivery program, that's a separate form. And then we also have other opportunities for volunteers to help us occasionally, because expanding on that idea of food security enhancement, we have a program called Living Salads.
Now, I think a lot of people in the area know about Living Salads because it's gotten a lot of media attention. Where
it's a pretty cool program.
Yeah,
and it's a pretty cool program. About 15
pretty
years
bombastic
ago.
too, like how it all folds out. If you've ever gotten a chance to volunteer for this, it's just a lot of fun.
It is so much fun. It's truly beginning to find its real rhythm in our community, partly because of awareness, but also because it's just so much fun. In the last few years, gardening and food self-sufficiency has come into, highlighted in people's lives, the importance of being able to figure out where your food comes from, and local food being a better option than food from far away for all kinds of reasons. So this is Living Salads, the portable community garden, is a container garden that holds about 7 plants that are happy to live together in close proximity. Yes. So gardeners out there, don't diss this until you hear it fully out here. Sometimes you need space for certain plants.
And all the companion planters are like, hey.
Exactly. This is a wonderful, harmonious blend. We have found the right tiny tomato plant that actually doesn't need 3 square feet of ground space. It can live happily in this 16-inch planter with the kale, with the Swiss chard, with the lettuce, with the parsley, and the marigold for insect repellency and just a little bit of spark and fun. Yeah. So we have local growers that supply all of our plant needs. We have usually other nonprofits that help us with the funds to provide fresh soil every year. We try to use recycled pots because that just seems smart. If you've got big plastic pots, you don't throw them away every year. And we assemble these usually about the middle of May at a local farm here in town, Helen's Acres. They've given us space, so we get to spread our tables out and get our plants and our soil going. And then all of those volunteer drivers that we have, they show up and they deliver these planters to people's homes. And one of the things I think is that jazzes me the most about living salads is it isn't just a little bit of greenery in a pot, which in itself is pretty jazzy. It's beautiful.
It is.
It's living. It helps to cultivate the opportunity for somebody to take care of something other than themselves. And you're not going to, this planter isn't going to talk back to you. This planter isn't going to give you a bad day. This planter is going to enhance your day.
It's going to be your friend.
Yeah. There's a lot of research that's been done that says that people that get their hands in soil and nurture something growing, that has a positive psychological, mental health benefit.
Yeah,
even if you don't call yourself a
just
gardener.
Getting in contact with the soil.
Getting in contact with the soil is a good thing.
I remember going out with you and lying under a tree because we were both so stressed out.
Yes.
And we just lay under the tree for about 20 minutes until we felt like humans again.
I think so. And there's probably smarter people than me that know the scientific reason why laying in the grass, looking up at the clouds is a good thing.
It's amazing.
All I know is it works. And
so if you have a little bit of nature in your little condo or balcony, how much light do people need for
these planters do better when they're outside. We have had people try to grow them inside. They don't do so super well. So a balcony outside, but it doesn't really matter what sun orientation.
Okay.
They seem to do pretty good.
And you're going to want a pollinator for your tomatoes, right?
Yes.
Something
and so
to come around?
sometimes we just encourage that people to use a toothpick or a toothbrush or a Q-tip or something like that to pollinate them. But overall, that hasn't been the biggest deal. What I was going to say is one of the funnest things that's happened as this process has evolved, because we've been doing this about 15 years now, and we started off by building 35 planters, and we now build almost 500.
That's
so
amazing.
we've scaled it up to the point where, wow, a lot of people, a lot of households are benefiting.
Yeah.
And among those households are families with kids in School District 23 who have been identified as being families who struggle with food insecurity.
Yeah.
And here's the really cool thing for me is that I grew up in a family that passed down intergenerational knowledge about putting seeds in the ground, about growing your own food, about what it's like to pick a berry from the bush or pull a potato out of the soil and clean off that carrot. But there are countless families in our community who maybe never came from a family that had that intergenerational knowledge passed down, or something happened. Something interrupted it. So that knowledge didn't get passed down.
Yeah.
Where do you get that knowledge from? If your grandma, if your mama, if your dad, if your aunt and uncle didn't share it with you, you might not catch it.
Yeah.
And there's lots of things in life that are like that. But I thought, oh, you know what? Every kid should know that if you put seed in the ground, something will grow.
Yeah. And the joy of it, it's almost like you're making a miracle happen right in front of you.
It is so exciting. And I've had all ages of people call our office and say, wow, my tomatoes are turning red.
Yes.
And I even have had a conversation between a husband and wife who were having a bit of a disagreement. I was supposed to break the tie because she said the tomatoes are ready to pick. And he said, they're too pretty. I can't pick them. They're too pretty.
Well, they'll stop being pretty.
And so we had to come alongside. I mean, sometimes it's best to have an objective person in on a husband and wife discussion. So I tried to reason with him about how these tomatoes were definitely beautiful and pretty, and he'd done a great job nurturing them, but he could really savor them and share them with his wife and make that memory as well.
You can eat this.
You can eat that, yeah. It's pretty good because I'm not going to
And you'll grow more.
Exactly.
Yeah,
We will grow
like the more you pick them, the more they get excited.
Exactly.
Oh, we've got to do this.
Yes,
Yeah.
for sure. So the Living Salad Project is now teaching families who didn't know how to garden what they can do with a pot.
On a real manageable scale.
Very manageable. It's not overwhelming because who hasn't tried gardening and then just given up in 6 weeks because this is too many weeds, too much stuff.
Holy cow.
Yes. So this is doable. It's scalable. It will not provide every bit of produce that a family needs, but it will enhance. I mean, nothing like fresh parsley on something, you know. A few little tomatoes in your lettuce salad, lettuce wraps.
Right.
Because when the lettuce is at season, there's nothing better than a fresh lettuce wrap sandwich. Yeah.
And learning the difference between a fresh tomato, still warm from the sun, and something that has traveled a long distance and was probably picked not in, a ripe
not in
state.
Season. Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, so true.
It's like, well, it's got the same texture, but the taste is completely different.
Yeah.
The scent is entirely different.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I know I see a variety of schools in our area that have raised boxes and they're trying to nurture, that information. One of the challenges with that is that just when our growing season gets rolling, school's out.
School's out.
So this is a way for kids to take a little bit of garden home
Yeah.
and work with it through the summer and learn what they can. And year after year, maybe we're laying the foundation for that next generation to reintroduce the passed on knowledge and resurrect some of that, redeem some of that that's been lost.
Yeah, and something to build on as well. To know that you're interested in this when you're a kid is really fun.
Yeah.
I used to garden with my mom, and she'd had about an acre of just produce garden for our family, because we lived out in the woods.
Yes.
So it's like, you're not going to drive 3 hours to
Right.
buy a bag of carrots.
Oh,
like
so
I can
true.
do now. I can just like slip out and grab a bag of carrots.
True. Oh, I hear you, Wendy.
Can't do it there.
My grandparents immigrated in the 30s from Europe, and one of my grandmas brought seeds sewn into the hem of her dress because she knew that when you're moving to the prairies of Canada in April,
You're gonna
you
need
better
something.
plant something, because if you don't have potatoes and onions by September, things might not go well. And that was well before there were food banks and any support networks.
Absolutely.
So there is that sense of self-sufficiency, that sense of independence that I think we're trying to encourage people to reach out and take for themselves.
Well, I think as a culture, we're moving more toward that. There's more interested in homesteading activities. People my kids' age are wanting to learn to can.
Yes.
And like, how does that work? How do you prepare things for freezing?
Yes.
So that they don't continue to ripen?
Exactly. How do you stop the enzymes from ruining them? Exactly. And how to do it safely.
Exactly.
So that months later you don't introduce something that's not so great for your
yeah.
family. Either doesn't taste good or it actually is dangerous.
Yes, you get this can thing and it's bubbling all on its own.
That's
should I or should I not eat this? The answer is you should not.
Unless it's fermenting.
If you meant it to ferment,
but you had
that's
to
different.
you had to have known that.
You got to know what you're doing.
If you didn't know that you were fermenting, you're not fermenting. You're creating something else that might not be edible.
Yeah. Gordon Ramsay would be yelling at you.
For sure.
Kill somebody. Are you still making kombucha?
Yes.
Oh
yes,
my gosh.
Very much so. In fact, I was just had a conversation with a friend the other day about how excited I get when my kombucha actually has its own self-generating CO2 bubbles.
Oh yeah.
Because I do know that many times when you buy carbonated beverages, whether they're sodas or kombucha, they've had the adjunct of added CO2 pumped into them.
Yeah.
And I get that, no disrespect. But there's something for me
doing itself.
about the organically gained CO2, and when you put that in a champagne glass and it's just sending up those beautiful bubbles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember the early days when you were experimenting with different flavor additions. There were some real fun things.
Oh, there were some fun things. Yes, there were some fun things. I think at this point I've narrowed down my options. My favorites are lemon ginger, raspberry, rhubarb. Those are all pretty great, and they're also beautiful. The colors are pretty.
I remember your ginger being really good. You weren't adding lemon to it at the time.
Yeah, no, but lemon's a good one. Yeah,
that's good.
And for some reason, rhubarb produces the most carbonation. I don't know what it is about
thinking
rhubarb.
through why would that be?
Yeah, I don't know what it is about it.
Yeah.
You add a little bit of sugar to the second ferment, and then you add your few diced pieces of rhubarb, and it bubbles like crazy.
Have you ever tried making the second ferment in a bottle where it's capped off?
Yeah. Oh,
Kind of like
just my pop
like
top
a
bottle.
champagne
My pop
method.
top.
Okay.
Yes.
And not gassing it, but forcing the bubbles too.
Yes, it's amazing.
Wow.
But there's a fear factor there.
Of exploding it?
Yeah, I've had a couple of those. You know, when people take a champagne bottle, as you mentioned, and I've never done this, but I've heard the concept of sabering a champagne bottle.
It's pretty easy.
I have done that to a bottle without even a saber. There was so much.
It just blew up your...
It just blew.
Yeah.
So you don't point a loaded kombucha bottle at anybody that you like.
No.
Because it could, well, it'll make them wet. It won't really do anything else. But yeah, it blew the top off the bottle. So we have to, now my husband makes me take the bottle outside to open it.
Yeah,
It's just
I
wise.
can see that.
Less cleanup.
Yeah. I was making some wine in my last year of high school. And I went away to university. And I don't think I told my mom where I was storing it.
Oh gosh.
And I was making wine with zero knowledge. So when the first bottle exploded, it set off all the other bottles, and it was in her storage room.
Reaction.
Yeah, so it sounded like there was a madman with a machine gun in her basement, just blowing stuff up.
And your mom was home.
Yeah, she's
And
home.
she didn't know what
and
was
her
going
basement is like everywhere. And so the whole thing is dripping in, I think it was dandelion wine I was making, because
Wendy.
it's accessible. I'm going to make this because I read about it somewhere in a novel.
And it was supposed to work.
I didn't know. I didn't know.
Yeah,
I learned how to
Who
make
knew?
taffy from a Raggedy Ann and Andy book, which was not a recipe. It was just, they did this in the dead of the night. So I thought,
Oh,
this
that
is a thing I should
funny.
do.
That is funny. I'm thinking you can
Beginner's
probably
luck.
pop all those other veggies into the pot
Okay.
along with the broth.
I'm just going to bring it over and have
Sure.
you take a peek at it because
Sure. Smelling really good. I'm sorry you can't smell it out there.
okay,
Smelling really good.
So, yeah, we're doing good?
It's great. Yeah,
it's getting
ready.
a little bit like
Yep.
extra
It's
brown.
ready. It's got flavor on the flavor. So
Flavor
we're gonna-
on the
We're
flavor.
going to add the potatoes and the rutabagas
I will do
and
that.
about 3 cups of broth and let that cook up until the potatoes are cooked.
And the broth is sitting right there? That's
broth is
that
right there in the
stuff
jar. Mhm,
Okay.
Exactly. And I'm just going to get ready our little bit of zucchini here. It's going to go in at the end along with the corn, kernel corn. What you doing, Wendy?
Nothing, don't look.
It's
You
okay,
hear
folks.
extra sizzle? This broth is very splashy. Nothing to see here, folks.
You see?
Turn the camera away.
You see, if you had been having a low day, Wendy, you've
I'm
just
so
been
cheery
lifted.
now.
You've been lifted by making soup, right?
That's it. Well, yeah.
Maybe that's one way to look at it. Maybe
That's
not.
it.
the other
Yeah,
way.
that's how I'm going to look at it. Because
The alternative is just not so great. Like,
I think I only poured about 20 milliliters of broth on the hot stovetop.
oh, okay, that's fine. The soup won't mind.
It's like a little sip.
We'll clean your stove later. Oh shoot,
Oh, that's pretty.
this is dill.
Is this from your garden?
No,
Okay.
I have, but this year has been so mild.
Yeah.
I still have flat leaf parsley,
Okay.
oregano, thyme, and kale.
Oh, my kale
Green,
is
green and
fantastic.
glowing. Yes,
Yeah.
it's pretty great. Yeah, no, it's wonderful. So I am not complaining.
Have you ever made kale chips?
Yes.
Are you
yes.
good at it?
I have made very good kale chips. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They're a bit tedious though. They're very tedious to make.
So
That's
I was
my
asking
experience.
Rose Sexsmith on an earlier episode about her kale chips. And she says the secret is to massage them.
Oh, kale is always best massaged, whether it's a salad or chips, for sure.
Do you have to actually massage them, or can
It
you
is
just
totally-
like put something and whack it with a spoon and be
It
done?
is. This isn't your kale,
Okay.
but if this is your kale, you
Isn't it?
literally, it's like you're kneading dough. And you know what's really great, Wendy, is if you have nice oil, it's great for your cuticles.
Oh.
So take it as a hand treatment. It's not just the massage for the kale; it's a massage for your hands.
Renee back there has skeptical face. Or was that, ooh, I could do that.
It's actually a real thing.
That's what she's saying.
Yeah.
Okay, so this
'Cause
is
I
my
have-
kale and I'm massaging
You're
it.
just massaging it.
All right, okay.
We're talking like 5 to 7, 8 minutes, like significant time frame. So if you really don't want the kale chips, don't bother.
Okay,
But
that will make the difference in the
it
quality.
will, and it also makes the difference in a kale salad. Like some people hear about kale salad and you see that polite glaze on their face. They don't say yuck, but everything in their face is saying yuck.
Yeah,
It's because they didn't know that if they massage the kale, it actually becomes edible, not just fibrous.
yeah.
It-
I find even just like tossing it in oil and then ignoring it for half an hour makes
Helps.
it edible.
It does help.
But maybe it would be better yet if
It
I
is
gave
so
it
much
some
better.
love.
Yeah. I think a little bit of kale love goes a long way.
I'm going to try it this week because
Yeah.
I've got kale.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And winter kale's a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. It's
Yeah,
great.
it's miraculous. It's like,
Yeah.
wow, this stuff is here and it's great.
And the other thing about kale that I love is if it's kale that's been growing from the summer,
Yeah.
it's now gotten taller, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're picking it off, but you now end up with what I call my kale palm trees.
Oh, yeah.
Because they look
Aren't
like
they
palm
fun?
trees. They're so
Yeah,
fun. They look like a
pop,
Dr.
pop, pop,
Seuss
pop.
thing.
Boop.
Yeah, they look like something from a kid's book.
They really do. They're so cute.
That's so fun. Yeah, so fun. Now that soup possibly could be turned up
Okay, up we
because
go.
it can kind of bubble away a little longer, a little harder now.
There.
Because pretty much we've got everything in the pot that's going in the pot to cook at this point.
Alrighty.
And So in the original recipe calls for the carrots, onions, the celery, green pepper, clove of garlic. Oh, we didn't put salt and pepper in. We could throw some salt and pepper in there. It says about a half a teaspoon each, so give it a few shakes. Then there's potatoes and rutabaga. About 3 cups of potatoes, 2 cups of rutabaga, just peeled and diced. Then there's about 3 cups of vegetable stock. Now I've got about a half cup of diced zucchini and a can of niblet corn. And when the potatoes and the rutabaga are kind of soft to like fork tender, we'll put the zucchini and the corn in. 5 minutes later, we'll slice our bread, sprinkle our dill. Sprinkle our dill in there.
Oh,
and
okay.
we'll be numbing.
Numbing. Bob's your uncle.
Exactly. And this soup, I have made it probably for the last 35 years.
Okay.
It has been. That's why the card looks tattered.
Well, you know, it's the good recipe.
It is a great recipe, and I haven't met anybody that doesn't like it yet.
Nice.
I don't tell them there's rutabaga in it. That might bias them.
You should just call it rutabaga chowder.
That's if I don't want to share.
That's right.
If I want to share it, tell
from
it's
my rutabaga chowder.
But yeah, I've made this in the height of summer, dead of winter. It's a little, with the fresh dill, excuse me, it's a little bit of a fragrance of summer.
Yes.
So in the middle of January, it's kind of fresh.
It's like a vacation.
Yeah, it's kind of fresh. Yeah. And yeah, the soup is great.
Like in Winnipeg, we it was the Slurpee capital of Canada at the time.
Gosh.
And it's especially in the less affluent areas, like it would be just really a thing. And we were living kind of in a shoulder community, and it was like a vacation.
Just to have that treat.
Yeah, because you can't go anywhere. It's dead of winter, but yet you're drinking this super sweet, fruity concoction and thinking, well, I can't go to Hawaii, but I can drink this.
I can get a Slurpee. Oh, I hear
I can get a Slurpee.
Isn't that true? Isn't that true? So we can't, this is January right now. We can't have July right now because it's January. But we can have fresh dill and a great pot of soup.
There you go.
And not feel quite so bummed out that the sun's going down at 4 o'clock.
Yeah, that's like in a couple hours.
I
It's
know.
going to be dark again.
I know, you have to really work it. So again, soup gets me through.
And I can always turn on that giant light and pretend that it's daytime.
That is so true. I love that light.
It's a great light. I could lend it to you if you want to light up your kitchen.
There you go.
Yeah.
That would be very fun.
Yeah, it's
very
like
fun.
9 o'clock, but it feels like daytime.
So cool, so cool.
So Hands and Service has at least one other cornerstone event other than we're making all the pots of all the things, but at Christmas time, you're also known for another big deal.
We have had, I think we just had our 14th annual Touch of Christmas Fair. And if you missed it, I'm so sorry because it was a real gooder. It was really great. We had a new location this year, Trinity Church, corner of Springfield and Spall. We will be there again next year. So we're already starting to hone in on what our date's going to be. So very soon, I would say we'll be putting out the information to vendors likely in the next couple months. So they can mark their calendars and decide if they want to be in. We had about, gosh, I'm going to say over 100 vendors. I know it was over 100. I just don't know if it was 105 or 115, but it was over 100 vendors.
Wow.
And we had thousands of people through. It was a very well-attended fair. The weather was great. The parking was great. The vendors were friendly. It's an artisan vendor fair, so we do adjudicate stuff. So that the stuff that shows up is really
fantastic.
Great. It's fabulous quality. I know that you just are getting over your Christmas shopping thing, so I don't want to bruise anybody, but come again next year. There will be this thing again called Christmas shopping. And we really encourage people to say you can get some really high quality Christmas gifts, locally made, supporting local vendors and artisans that you will be so honored to give to people and people will love because they won't be able to get it anyplace else.
No kidding.
It's so unique, so unique.
I've discovered things at the Touch of Christmas Fair that I've never seen anywhere else.
Yes.
And they're just really terrific. Hey, look at that.
It's bubbling.
Yeah.
It's looking good. Yeah, so Touch of Christmas Fair, that is our major fundraiser for our nonprofit to help us keep the lights on, keep the phones working, keep our internet up, so that we can receive those volunteer forms. Clients that are looking for, people who are looking to become clients of ours can also access our services via smartphone or our website on a computer. We have a client form as well that can be filled out and sent in.
Okay, so they don't have to be referred by their doctor or social worker?
No, people can self-refer. We will always contact them once we've received their application form. We will contact them with, they give us a phone number or an email, however that is. Our next step is to set up a home visit because we want to meet the individuals and we want to hear from them about what would be helpful. We can't do everything. We aren't everything to everybody, but we like to meet people face to face. We like them to know who we are. We like them to know what we can offer and what piece of their challenge we can lighten. And might save them some energy for other things that we can't do, things that we can't do for them. So we will arrange that home visit, meet their individuals in their home. We do need to know who the individuals are that live in the home, if there are pets in the home, because we also want to honor and respect our volunteers. We would never send a volunteer into a home that we haven't already been in.
Okay, yeah.
Because
so
that makes sense.
If I'm allergic to cats, you're not going to send me to a home with cats.
Exactly. And I'm going to tell you about the home, whether it is a very small suite, whether it is a house, whether it is an apartment, whether there's more than one person living in the home, what the relationships are, so that you as a volunteer will not be walking unbeknownst to a stranger's door and being anxious perhaps for what might be on this other side.
And they know when I'm coming? So I'm volunteering for you. Are the person that I'm going to go and help, do they know that I'm coming already?
Yes.
They know what time I'm coming?
Yes.
Do I have a set thing of things that you give me, or is the person, like who's in charge of exactly what I do in their home?
Okay, here's where the system that we set up becomes relational, because we are not a cleaning service. We are not just leave the key under the door and let yourself in. We do require our clients to be home, be present in their home when our volunteers come. And we do hope that there will be some verbal exchange. There'll be some conversational opportunities for the volunteer and the client receiving the service. Perhaps even a tandem, maybe they will work together. There are some of our clients say, hey, I can't make my bed by myself, but if you help me, we can do it. Because we never ever want to do for people things that they can do for themselves. We don't want to disempower people. They may have limited capacity. We don't want to rob them from whatever capacity they have. So the volunteer coming in isn't like, okay, I'm here to save the day. Not exactly. I'm here to say hi. How can I help you today? And what I always
feels better.
What I always encourage our clients to do is to literally write a little wish list, a prioritized wish list. So the first thing you want done, if the first thing you want done is your garbage taken out, make sure that's number one. Because our volunteers will be there for a fixed amount of time, and they will work through as many things on your list as they have time for. But it's possible that they won't get through all your list. Which is just kind of real life. You know, I can set up lists for myself, and I don't always get through them in a whole day. So, but the most important things get done first, and then you know that the extra stuff is bonus.
So if I'm a little bit nervous volunteering, how long am I going to be in their space? Like,
it really is. It's really up to your schedule. You could go for as short as an hour, or as long as an hour and a half or 2 hours.
But
no longer.
Not
no
my
longer
whole
than
day
that.
or something.
No. And I think one thing I do want to say is that I have had conversations with volunteers who were kind of frustrated because they could see that if they were going to be there longer, they could do more stuff. And there's always more. There's always more you can do. But sometimes our clients' capacity to have someone in their home is exhausted by an hour.
Plus, we're a stranger coming into their space, and who knows what we're up to, too. So
there's a
I would
trust
think
factor.
they're really on alert.
You want to establish some trust first. So I would say that for a new volunteer, count on going in for an hour at a time for the first 3 months. Maybe you do that twice a month.
All right. Do I get any training or follow-up? If I'm volunteering with you, is somebody going to call me and say, hey, how did it go? Or is there somebody I can call and say, this thing happened and I don't know if I handled it right?
Right. Absolutely. We have increased our staff, actually, just in the last couple of months. We have a fabulous additional field coordinator.
Nice.
So we have Ruth and now we have Becky. And between the two of them, they are keeping track of our volunteers, and they will give you numbers that you can text or phone to. And you can give feedback. We were longing for feedback from our volunteers. How's it going? Is it what you thought it was?
Yeah.
Are there any hitches? Is anything awkward about what was going on? Because we don't want you to feel awkward. We don't want you to feel like you don't know what you're doing, or that you are in any way feeling like this isn't what I signed up for.
Right.
So we definitely want to have open dialogue with our volunteers. We also encourage our clients to call us back, and because sometimes clients are reluctant to give direct feedback to the person in their home.
Yeah.
They don't want to be critical or complain, but maybe something wasn't quite the way they thought it would be. So for the first couple of weeks, there might be this little triangle thing, but for the most part, after a few services, there is a relationship that's established. We don't expect people to become best friends. We just say, you will get to know this person. They will get to know you. The client who's invited this stranger, this volunteer, into their home. Of them. It's brave of the client, because they really have no place to go. It's their home.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's as anxiety provoking as going to someone that you don't know's home. Can you imagine being the person who's in the home, knowing that there's this person coming to your home, and the idea is that they will help you, but you still have to meet them, and you still have to, if you want your bathroom clean, that means by definition it's not clean.
Right.
So you get to share your dirty bathroom with a person that you just met.
Oh shoot.
And that can be
I don't know if I'd like that.
That can be rather tough.
Yeah.
That can be rather tough.
I appreciate it. Like your clients are brave.
They're making themselves very vulnerable, and they are articulating, I need help with this. I cannot clean my shower because I live in a wheelchair, and if I lean over far enough to clean my shower, I might fall in my wheelchair.
Disaster.
Or I have other health concerns that prevent me from cleaning my shower, but I'd really like to take a shower in a shower that's not scuzzy. That'd be really nice. And so the opportunity is massive. Small acts of kindness make a huge difference, and cleaning people's bathrooms, cleaning people's...
I'm not going to burn you.
Fabulous, fabulous. So now we've got our potatoes and our rutabagas and all the other veggies all stewed together. Smells pretty good, eh, Wendy?
It does.
Throwing in our zucchini here that's been chopped, and what the heck, we'll throw the corn in too.
What the heck?
What
Live
the heck?
wildly.
Just go, take
All
a rest.
right.
And that can go back on the stove for maybe another 5 minutes or so, and then we are done.
Ah, and you put the creamy
It goes
stuff
in
at the
at
very
the
end?
very end, yes.
Okay.
Partly because if you're using dairy, you don't want to boil dairy because it might curdle. I think coconut milk is a little bit more flavoring that way.
I think
I'm
so.
thinking we might want to, when we add the coconut cream, we might add a little bit more water, just because we've had evaporation happen during cooking. So
Yeah, it's pretty.
it's pretty dense, pretty stewy.
Thicky stew.
Yes, yes. So we might want to get some water. But it's smelling really good.
Sure is.
Sorry that there's not smell-o-vision for you folks.
Smell-o-vision.
Should have a scratch
I'm sure
and
that's
sniff.
coming.
Yeah, scratch, scratch and sniff.
Does that still exist?
I think you can still get stickers
Can
with
you?
scratch and sniff. Yeah,
That was so fun.
I know.
Renee, do you know? Yeah, scratch and sniff.
Yes,
yeah,
it's a real thing.
Huh.
Yeah.
Oh,
Very fun.
I love scratch and sniff. Scratch and sniff stickers.
Scratch and sniff. Yeah,
Very,
exactly.
very hard to say, but lovely.
Too fun. I also, I just wanted to give a shout out too, since we're making soup today, just to say that I don't know if there are people hearing this or seeing this now that might say, hey, I don't know if I can go into someone's home. That's maybe outside of my capacity.
Right.
It might be a scheduling thing. Our volunteers tend to do their in-home services during the daytime because that's better for most of our clients. Some of our clients are in bed at 6:30.
All right.
So if you have a day job, that compromises your schedule, their schedule.
Yeah.
It's not going to work. You can't go at 7 o'clock at night.
Yeah, no matter
clean
how
our
much
home.
I want to.
Exactly.
It's
And
not gonna
I'm
work.
not saying that cleaning house at night is not a good thing. I'm just saying for our clients it doesn't work.
Right.
So you go, oh shoot, okay, can't do that. Or if you're just thinking that, I don't know, I've got little kids, I don't know if what am I going to do with this? I don't know how to do this. We had a very creative volunteer who rang us up and said, hey, do you guys need soup?
Okay.
We called her the soup lady.
Soup lady.
Yes, she has a real name, but I always forget her name
Again with
because
soup?
I know her as the soup lady. And she would bring in containers of frozen soup that we
Wow.
put in our freezer.
Okay.
That when we got a call from someone who was desperate for food,
Right.
and it's Monday, and they can get a hamper on Thursday, but they're going to be pretty hungry on Tuesday and Wednesday until
Yeah.
Thursday comes, and then they still have to cook something on Thursday. I
Yeah.
could say, you know what? I've got some soup. Would you like some soup?
Have you ever
And-
had anyone say no to soup?
No,
No.
no, I haven't. Soup is the answer.
Soup is the
Soup
answer.
is the answer,
We're back
people.
to the beginning.
It's not just my theory. It
What
actually
you got
works.
going on? Soup is the answer.
Soup is the answer. So this lady would bring us, a dozen or so frozen
Oh.
containers of soup. We put it in, we have
Go,
a freezer in
soup
our
lady.
office, and that's
Yeah.
available for us when we're going for a home visit. We might just say, hey, would you like us to bring some soup? And
Yeah.
10 to 1, our clients will say absolutely. And they have the option of eating it that day or saving it. But it's been wonderful. So if you have a affinity for making soup, and if that is something that you would like to offer, please contact us via our website or call our office. We would love to chat with you about that.
Things
Woohoo!
are crazy in here.
Things are crazy. Okay.
It's very, very active soup.
I love it. I love it. See,
All
it's
right.
an interactive opportunity. I think we could add maybe just a little bit of water to that.
I don't know. It's very chowdery.
Actually, no,
I
that's
like
fine.
it.
I think it's
I
pretty
think it's
good.
fine.
So what I find sometimes is after you put the soup in the fridge, sometimes it will absorb some moisture. So you might, when you reheat it the next, but oh, Wendy,
Hey.
I think we're here. I think we're here.
Dun,
So
ta-da.
pop in the dill.
Okay. And we've got some accompaniment.
Wonderful dill. We have singing appliances.
Something's happening.
They're celebrating the soup. It's clear.
It's a
Celebrating the
soup
soup.
celebration.
This is fabulous. Oh, how exciting.
I don't know what is going off here, but
Is it something on your stove? There's red on your stove. Oh, there we go.
it's my
An
dishwasher.
overzealous dishwasher.
It's very zealous. Here's a knife. Oh, you have.
Yes.
We are so well armed.
We are. So we're going to slice up
All right.
some
And
sourdough bread here.
look at this timing. Oh my gosh.
I know.
An hour.
I think we knew what we were doing or something, Wendy.
Soup.
That's great.
Dang. I'm going to clang things as hard as I can. Oh, this is so pretty. That dill just
It's actually a very
pretties it up.
It is an Instagrammable soup.
It is. It really
if you were
is.
so inclined to take pictures of your food.
100%.
This is definitely, and in those bowls, oh, the blue
How
just
cute.
sets it off so nicely.
All right.
Look at that.
It's the cutest.
And you just have a little piece of bread there with your
Yeah.
soup and
The butter.
you put your butter on it.
I should pour a bowl for you too, because it's not fair to watch and not get some.
No, it definitely is not fair. It's good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Alrighty. Da 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 da.
Voila. Look
Okay.
at that.
I'll take our danger soup away. Have you ever burned yourself on a pot? It just feels terrible.
Oh, it is nasty.
Yeah, you feel kind of dumb when that happens. Because a pot, it's not like you couldn't see it.
That's true.
Pot, it's right
That's
there.
true. Okay, well, we've
Alrighty.
arrived, Wendy.
Yes.
We've got our garden vegetarian chowder. This happens to be a vegan option because we put coconut milk in it. And I was reminded by some carnivores in my life that it's really good with bacon too. So if you are so disposed, you could sprinkle some bacon in here or some ham. But
Right. Cheers.
Cheers, cheers.
Soup. Wow, that's just super savory. It doesn't taste like rutabaga soup.
See what I mean? The rutabagas don't bite you. No, I just for the heck of it, just take a piece of rutabaga if you can find one. Just
Yeah. Okay, this is rutabaga,
gosh,
right?
yeah, bite
Okay.
into it.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna mess you because it's so good.
It's almost like apple.
You just met a rutabaga you like.
I'm in love with her rutabaga.
Could be the first time. I love it. Turning people.
And you made this too?
I did.
Oh, you're such a beast.
I made it yesterday. Just for the record, I've been making sourdough bread since before the pandemic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
It's
brought
just
me
plain
some sourdough bread when I had my knee operation.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Uh-huh.
I think Dave brought it over because you had just had your operation.
My hip surgery.
Yeah. For a while.
We're just one bionic woman to another.
Limped around in the house. How's your hip? We're the age when we talk about body parts, like
I know.
instead of like, did you hear what Susie's doing? It's like, did you hear what my hip's up to?
Exactly. So good.
Oh, perfect pairing.
It works really well. Before I made sourdough bread, before I knew I could make sourdough bread, I used to serve this with cornbread.
That would be
It's
amazing.
a really nice option too.
Yeah.
But the sourdough bread, again, soup and sourdough bread.
Oh yeah. What's more
clearly the answer.
homey and rustic and gorgeous? Yeah.
I hear ya.
Yeah. We'll just eat our way out of this episode, and I'll get you some of this. We'll put your recipe down on the YouTube channel when it's all together.
Exactly.
All right.
Sounds good.
So thanks for joining us, and you can make your own Instagrammable soup where the rutabagas taste like apples. And I don't know why. Thank you, Pam, for joining.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Bye.